Jefferson into the open field. No one's going to touch him. Mark it up. Touchdown, Sioux Falls.
40, the 30, and he is gone to the house. Touchdown, Tallahassee.
Tipped and picked off by Colin Douglas, who's going to take it back all the way.
Pass caught, first down. What a move! Dr. Sim, get out of here! The doctor is in for the touchdown!
Boy, is it good to be back in the broadcast booth. Welcome to St. Louis, Missouri, the gateway city to the west. Here at Budweiser Stadium, we've got the hometown Gladiators taking on the second place Tallahassee Pride, gunning for spots in the playoff position. My name is Eric Vinson. I will be your play-by-play commentator. Thank you for having me back, everyone. Sorry, it's been a couple weeks, but I'm back. I'm ready to go. I'm ready for some football. Hope you guys are as well. Two teams here, St. Louis looking to add to their momentum on a 2-game winning streak, hopefully for next season. Tallahassee still gunning for that number 1 playoff spot. And we'll head to midfield for the coin toss, see how this one plays out. So the Gladiators will kick off to start things off. They're wearing the reverse uniforms tonight. Black helmets, black pants, and green jerseys. Meanwhile, Tallahassee wearing their gold pants, purple helmets. Ball is teed up by Colin Northrup. And we are ready to go here from St. Louis. From about the 8-yard line, Tallahassee will bring it up the field. And St. Louis will wrestle him down at about the 28-yard line. Swain on the return for Tallahassee. As we get our first look at Christensen, the number 1 quarterback for this Tallahassee Pride squad. They come out with 3 bunched receivers at the bottom of the screen. J. Calvin Kim in the backfield. Kim will get the handoff, runs into his own guy, able to squeak away from a tackler. Makes it out to the 32-yard line, gain of 4 on the play. Other names to watch for on this Pride offense, we have Christensen, who I mentioned, J. Calvin Kim, also who I mentioned, their running back number 20. Ken Gossett, number 84, along with Jared Cochran, number 80, are the wide receivers. And Wesley Weeks, number 87, is your tight end. 2nd and 6 from the 32 for the Pride. Christensen's going to take a pass over here, swing it out left to J. Calvin Kim, who has the first down and more, out to the 43-yard line of Tallahassee. As we get a look at the St. Louis defense, they are stacked on defense with star players. Nicholas Daggs, the defensive tackle down there in the trenches, Ron Wild and Colin Douglas, your corners. Declan Slaughter, William Davidson, and Aiden Friday are your backers. Freeman Peltier and Greg Hatton Shore are your safeties. First down for Christensen's deep pass over to the left-hand side, and that's batted down. Great coverage on the play as he was looking for Weeks, but he was threading the needle, Christensen was. Could not complete the play. It'll be 2nd and 10. From the 43, Christensen will wind up under center. J. Calvin Kim deep in the backfield, 3 wide receivers. Christensen will pass, though, over to the right-hand side. Little out route. That's caught. They're going to run a little no huddle here. Catch was made by Trevor Swain, the kick returner. Christensen on 3rd and 5 is going to pass again over the right-hand side. Almost picked off. That was almost picked off by one of the corners over on the St. Louis side. That was Ron Wild, who got his mitts on the ball but couldn't complete the play, so it'll be 4th and 5, and Tallahassee will punt on their first drive. a quick first drive for Tallahassee. And Howard McCoy will be forced to punt the ball for his first punt of the night. Good hang time, good kick. Over to the 15-yard line is where St. Louis will field it, and they'll get about a yard extra, and that'll be about it. It's fielded by Juan Moore, number 1, the wide receiver. Then we'll see Ethan Alexander trot out onto the field for this St. Louis offense. Not a whole lot of star power as far as this offense is concerned. However, they can put up points with Adam Fennell as the running back, Garrett Rowland the fullback, and Elijah Swaim at number 87, the tight end. Deep pass to start things off for Alexander. Plenty of time over the right-hand side. That's caught for a first down. Out to the 34-yard line before Alex Bond wrestles him down, the strong safety. Also over on the defensive front, no star corners for this Tallahassee group, but plenty of star powers. Jason Moffitt and Jake Berry are down in the trenches as defensive ends. Bowens Malone, Dylan Rowland, and Ryan Nadenson are your linebackers. Bernard Gooden, your free safety, and Bond, your strong safety, whom I already mentioned on that tackle. Offset I formation. Handoff is going to be to Fennell. Fennell has some room on the right-hand side. First down yardage. 2 plays, 2 first downs, 2 tackles for Bond. Rowland was in on the tackle as well on that second play. So a good-looking start here for the hometown Gladiators, who are riding a 2-game winning streak. Came out with a squeaker 2 weeks ago against Carolina, a 3-point win against the Skyhawks, and then a 1-touchdown victory in Cleveland for the upset. They have been 1-3 at home, however, as Fennell gets another handoff. He's getting big yardage to start things off. Another 9-yard gain. So it'll be second and very short. I mentioned Tallahassee fighting for playoff position. Queen City in the driver's seat for the number 1 spot and home field advantage throughout the playoffs. However, Tallahassee still has a chance to get into that top spot and make sure they lock up home field advantage. They need to keep winning, though, and they'll need to pull off one here in St. Louis as Alexander bonks one off of the helmet of his intended receiver. I believe that was Swaim. Falls incomplete, so it'll be third and short upcoming. Tallahassee riding a 2-game winning streak of their own, beating Atlanta 35-23. And Baltimore last week, 41-38, barely squeaking by on that one. Both games at home, however, they are 2-3 on the road this season. Fennell will get the handoff. He'll get first down yardage and more on third down. Out to the 43-yard line into Tallahassee territory. And Fennell is making a great run on this first possession here for the Gladiators. First and 10 now from the 43 of Tallahassee. Pride going with 3 down linemen. Alexander has plenty of time, throws it over the middle, and that pass was dropped, unfortunately, for the Gladiators. He was looking for Juan Moore. The kick returner just couldn't quite hold on to it, and it falls harmlessly to the turf. Just fell right through his fingers, unfortunately. Could not hold on, and that's what you gamble with when it's all stars on defense and not so many on the offensive side of the ball. But St. Louis has proven to be tough cookies when you're trying to knock them out. They stand tall and make sure that they give you a fight as Fennell gets another handoff. Good blocking in front of him, able to get away from a tackler and get a 9-yard gain on the play. So rather than being second and long, it ends up being third and short. Thanks to the impressive running of Adam Fennell. Third down and 1 for the Gladiators from the 34. Not quite into field goal range, and Alexander's hit as he threw the ball. That falls incomplete. Great play by one of those star defensive ends, Jake Berry. Actually, it looks like that was Preston Ingram on the play, and St. Louis is going to stay out onto the field with their offense. And they do run a play. Fennell actually gets the first down out to the 31-yard line. He gets 3, only needed 1. As you take a look, they're already averaging 7 yards a carry just on the first drive. Heck of a job by the running back. First and 10 now from the 31. Fennell makes it out to the 27-yard line, gain of 4. Not quite what he was looking for that time. But still a 4-yard gain works out great for the Gladiator offense. Hand off to Fennell once again. He's spinning around and spinning again out to the 22-yard line where it'll be a third and short, Fennell is putting the team on his back, making sure that he squeaks out every yard on every possible run. Another heavy formation here for the Gladiators. They line up for a 3rd and 1. 3 down linemen for the Pride, and they managed to get in there and knock Fennell for a loss. A 1-yard loss there on the play as Dylan Rowland makes the play for the Pride. That'll bring up 4th and 2, and we'll see if St. Louis will go for it once again or if they'll bring in the kicking team. Looks like they're going to keep the offense out on the field. Gutsy play here to start things off for the hometown Gladiators. We'll see if they run a play this time around or if Ethan Alexander is just going to try and get the Pride to jump off sides. 10 showing on the play clock. And Tallahassee does not fall for the hard count. And in all likelihood, St. Louis will have to trot out the kicking unit. Graham Northrup, the kicker for St. Louis. I misspoke when he initially kicked the ball off to start things off. Colin Northrup is actually the co-owner of the St. Louis Gladiators. So Graham here will line up for a 40-yard field goal. Snap is good, kick is away, and it is through, officially a 39-yard field goal. But that is no gimme for a non-star kicker as Northrup is able to bang it through from 39 yards out and give the Gladiators a 3-0 lead. So a great first possession, all thanks to the running back, number 36, Adam Fennell, as he put the team on his back and ran for big yardage on that first possession. Tallahassee will get another try to answer as they run it up the field out to the 29-yard line. Good return there for Swain. And we'll see what Christensen can do in his second possession. Christian Christensen strides up to the line. Plenty of confidence in this quarterback. Already thrown for 2,000 yards. He's going to take a short drop, has time. He's going to dump it off over the middle there. Got a 5-yard gain. Out to one of his tight ends, Deacon Stoutmeyer. And that'll bring up 2nd and 5 for the Pride. Four and a half minutes left to go in this first quarter of action. 2 running backs now in the backfield for Tallahassee. 2 wideouts. Christensen's under center. He'll take another short drop. Over to the right-hand side this time. Got him on an out route, but they'll call it incomplete. Gossett was the intended receiver. However, he could not keep his feet in bounds, and that'll bring up a 3rd and 5 for the Pride. from the 33-yard line. 3 down linemen for the Gladiators. Christensen throwing on a hard count, throws it over to the right-hand side. Gossett has it this time, falling down. Unfortunately, he can't stretch the ball out past that first down marker. And the referees will mark him just shy of the first down yardage. Tallahassee off the field with a 3 and out. Second punt of the night for McCoy. This one's another good one, fielded by Moore at about the 25-yard line. He won't get much after that. They'll give him 2 yards this time. Generous spot if you ask me. But they'll mark it at the 27-yard line, and we'll see what St. Louis wants to do on this drive. I suspect they'll feed Adam Fennell more of the rock and see what he can do with it. 44 yards rushing on that first drive. No star wide receivers for this Gladiator squad, so Fennell will be expected to carry the workload. Alexander drops back, tries to avoid the sack. He does. Offensive lineman just standing there looking at him as he dumps it off to Fennell. Fennell spin cycle through everybody and is able to get it out for a first down. That was one of the funnier plays I think I've seen, but an effective one nonetheless. As the offensive lineman, I guarantee you Alexander just had to sidearm it around the big oaf in order to get it to his running back. It ended up being okay, though, as St. Louis gets a first down somehow out of that play. Offset I hand off to Fennell. Fennell weaving his way through traffic, able to get 5 yards out of the play before he stopped at the 42-yard line. A much better looking play than the one before. I'm still a little flabbergasted by that one. 2nd and 5 now from the 42. 2:50 left to go in the ball game. Or, excuse me, in the first quarter. I'm getting way ahead of myself. Alexander, short drop, slings that out over to the right-hand side. Knocked down on the play. Bones Malone in there on the tackle. No gain, so that'll be 3rd and 5 now for St. Louis. Fennell was out there on the catch. Third and 5 from the St. Louis 43. Alexander under center. No backs in the backfield. 4 wideouts. He'll take a drop over to the left-hand side, and that was almost intercepted. Could have been picked off by Bernard Gooden. Could not secure the interception, so it'll fall harmlessly to the turf. St. Louis will have to punt for the first time in this ballgame. Jack Kissinger is your punter for the Gladiators. As he'll set his toes up at the 28-yard line of St. Louis. Good punt. Fielded at about the 15, able to get 7 yards out of it. And that's a good play there. But it looks like R.J. Manley was the one who returned the punt. So 1st and 10 now for Tallahassee. We'll see if they can answer down 3-0 from their own 22-yard line. Christensen will pass, pump fake, sling it over to the opposite way. That's caught for about an 8-yard gain. That was a good play there. J. Calvin Kim weaving his way up. One of the linebackers came up and made the play defensively for St. Louis. And there is the elusive J. Calvin Kim. 2nd and 2, he'll get that. Christensen drops back, dumps it off down the middle to, I think, one of his tight ends. That was Kendrick Jefferson, but it was still short of the first down marker. Only a gain of 1, so it'll be 4th down once again for Tallahassee. They'll have to punt. McCoy punts it off once again to St. Louis. Juan Moore is able to get a couple more yards out of the return. And St. Louis will take over once again. Able to move the ball pretty well on their first possession. The second possession, also a decent possession, but not able to make it into scoring range. We'll see what they can do here with the third one, as this will probably bring our first quarter to a close here, this drive will. 1st and 10 from the 35. Alexander slings it off to the left-hand side, has a man, and that is Juan Moore with the catch, 8 yards. Could not keep his feet in bounds past the first down marker. But that's a good play on 3rd down for the Gladiators. Second and short now for the Gladiators. They line up in a run formation, offset I. Fennell's going to get the handoff, but the Pride read it well the whole way. Nathanson gets in the backfield, makes the stop. And that was a loss of 3 on the play. Big loss for Adam Fennell. And that will bring our first quarter of play to a close. From St. Louis, the Gladiators eyeing an upset, up 3-0 so far. This could be a field position battle, as Dwayne Schindler was saying in the chat. As we flip sides of the field here, 3rd and 5 now for the Gladiators. Alexander avoids the rush, has a man, but great play by Dylan Rowland to knock the ball down. Otherwise, St. Louis was going to get a ton of yards on that crossing route. Just a simple little in route for St. Louis. Leonardo Short was who Alexander was looking for on the play, but once again, Rowland with the great play knocks the ball down as Tallahassee's coming after it, won't get there. Fielded just shy of the 25-yard line. He'll bring it out to the 26. As Manley sets up Christensen for their next possession. Christian Christensen trying to find answers here in the playbook for this Gladiator defense. They've shut them down pretty handily. However, J. Calvin Kim hasn't really gotten a whole lot of rushing attempts as he finds a man over on the right-hand side. Had to come back to the ball, though. So no forward progress. They'll mark him as a no gain. That was Trevor Swain, the kick returner, on the catch. 2nd and 10 now for the Pride. Hand off to Kim. St. Louis reading that the whole way, only able to get 1 yard out of the play. Tallahassee will run a little no huddle here, see if they can light a spark to the offense. 3 down lineman for St. Louis. Christensen with a short drop, zings it over to the middle of the field, and it's dropped. Gossett has looked shaky so far in tonight's ball game. This time not able to corral the ball from Christensen, and that will be another 4th down for this Tallahassee squad. McCoy coming out for yet another punt. as Tallahassee has struggled to get on the other side of the field. Juan Moore will field it at about the 35. He'll get 2 or 3 yards, get out to the 38-yard line, and St. Louis will take over once again. Make sure everyone is subscribed to our YouTube channel. Help us to push over 700. We are over 650 right now. As a subscriber, you're notified when our channel goes live, and you'll have access to over 1,000 videos seamlessly through the YouTube app. Our channel live streams Sundays at 3 p.m. and Sundays through Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Don't miss a minute of the action. First down here for St. Louis as Fennell gets another handoff, and that's more looking like the original Adam Fennell we saw on the first drive. Big chunks of yards, a 5-yard gain on first down brings up 2nd and 5. Alexander alone in the backfield, 4 wide receivers for this 2nd down and 5. Zings it over to the left-hand side. Toe drag swag for a 2-yard gain. And Adam Fennell does it all. Still a 3rd and short. We'll see what St. Louis wants to do on this upcoming play. First possession was good as far as the run game goes. Since then, it's been very hit or miss. We'll see if they want to hand it off here with 2 backs in the backfield. Instead, Alexander will pass, steps up in the pocket, and he throws it over to Fennell. Fennell not able to keep his feet in bounds as he was pressured on the play by that Tallahassee defensive front. And Kissinger will come out and punt the ball away once again for St. Louis. So back and forth we go in a defensive struggle so far. But we've seen games like this before where all of a sudden the top just comes off and we get points everywhere. So we'll see what comes about here in the coming stages as Tallahassee fields it. Manley able to get it out to the 18-yard line. And Christensen will take over once again. Just a hair under 9 minutes to go. As Tallahassee lines up at the 18-yard line, Christensen will hand it off to Jay Calvin Kim, who spins away from a tackler, squeaks out of another one, is able to get out to the 23-yard line. A heck of a run by the Gold running back, Jay Calvin Kim. Elsewhere in the SFL, we have the Storm and the Sparrows locked up in a 7-7 duel with just about 5 minutes left to go in that half. As Jay Calvin Kim gets another handoff. 3-yard gain out to the 26-yard line. That'll bring up a 3rd and manageable for for Tallahassee. Chicago just scored on Queen City and has taken a 14-10 lead on the Champs. So we'll see if those scores hold up as Christensen is under center for a 3rd and 2. Kind of a strange-looking formation and a strange-looking play as St. Louis is easily getting in the backfield. Slaughter is able to get in there along with one of the defensive linemen. Looks like that was Chad Longstreet. And it's a 4th and 4 now for Tallahassee, and they got a punt yet again. Great defense being played from both of these teams as St. Louis almost gets there to block the punt. Moore takes it from about the 35, but he's met immediately by the Pride defenders as he's only able to get about 4 yards out to the 39-yard line. If you're a big fan of defense, this is the game to watch for you, as neither offense really able to get any sort of positive yardage, struggling to get on the other side of the field. We'll see what St. Louis can do here as Fennell gets a handoff. He has some room on the left-hand side. Just as I'm complaining about all defense, Adam Fennell rips one off on the left-hand side into Tallahassee territory. 1st and 10 for the Gladiators. And he just left the defense in the dust. Bond able to come over and knock him out of bounds. Great play by the strong safety there. But not before Fennell rips off a huge gain, gets them into Tallahassee territory, 1st and 10. It would be an I formation. This time it's a swing pass over to Fennell. Fennell able to get away from the first defender, not the second, as Rowland is the one who makes the stop. Bones Malone was the one who was trying to wrap him up to start with. Adam Fennell doing his best J. Calvin Kim impression so far in tonight's ball game, as he's ripped off a ton of rushing yardage and has been getting involved in the passing game as well. He will sit on the sidelines for this play, though, as Alexander has 4 wide receivers in an empty backfield. Has time over to the right-hand side. That's caught for a 1st down. Good catch on the play by Tito Mass, as that gives them 1st down yardage, gets them into the red zone at the 20-yard line of Tallahassee. Handoff this time to Fennell, spins away from the first defender, gets about a 3-yard gain before he's wrestled down by Nadenson. Second and 7 now from the 18-yard line. Two backs in the backfield, as Alexander zings it over to the middle of the field, and he has a man down to the 2-yard line, right in between where Rowland and Bond were. And that was a great catch and a great throw, I should say, by Ethan Alexander. Able to find his fullback, Garrett Rowland, with the nice soft hands. Brings them down to the 2-yard line, 1st and goal for St. Louis. Not a bad catch there for our fullback, as they line up in an offset I formation this time, St. Louis. Handoff to Fennell. Fennell wrestling his way to the 1-yard line, where he'll be stopped right there. Bond got in on the stop, along with Kendrick Foreman. 2nd and goal now for the Gladiators. Five minutes to go in the first half of play. Opposite offset I formation. This time Fennell's going to walk into the end zone. Touchdown, St. Louis. Adam Fennell finally finds his way into the end zone for the first touchdown of the ball game, and St. Louis extends their lead. Good looking play there, able to kind of sidestep away from the corner. And Eric Long just looked silly on that play, as Adam Fennell is able to sneak into the end zone for a touchdown. Northrop hoping to make this a 10-0 ball game, as the kick is up and good, so it is 10-0 now in favor of the hometown Gladiators, looking to upset the second-place Pride in the East. As we get a look at other SFL action, Chicago is up on Queen City by 4, 14-10. And Alaska and Sioux Falls is actually taking a 3-point lead against the Storm in South Dakota. Just under 2 minutes left to go in that first half, excuse me. Tallahassee will field it deep in their own territory, and he'll get thumped down. That was a great hit by the special teamer. Backup tight end Felix Fortune was the guy who laid the lumber on that play. Tallahassee will line up at the 26. Just under 5 minutes left to go in the first half. 3 bunched wide receivers towards the top of your screen as Christensen will hand it off to Kim, and St. Louis snuffed that out right away. Great play by the defense as William Davidson gets in on the act. And what a performance by the St. Louis defense, holding J. Calvin Kim to just 8 yards rushing. One of the greatest backs in SFL history has only 8 yards in the first half so far. As Tallahassee will throw the ball this time, and looks like the corner actually had a better play on the ball than the wide receiver. Great play by Colin Douglas to just toss out a mitt and see if he could grab it. It falls down to the turf though, but so it's 3rd and 12. Four wideouts and Kim in the backfield for Christensen. He's under center with 3 down linemen for St. Louis. Short drop, sidearms it over the middle of the field. That's caught for a first down. St. Louis struggling to bring Gossett down as he finally makes his first catch. Excuse me, that's his second catch. As he gives his team a much needed first down. Nice soft hands on that play by Kenny G. And we creep inside of 4 minutes left to go in the first half of play. St. Louis with a 10-0 advantage right now as Calvin Kim is able to make it out to the line of scrimmage, and that's about it. Once again, Davidson in there on the stop for no gain. And the Gladiators defense is hype. Second and long here for the Pride. 3 bunch wide receivers again towards the top of your screen. Another handoff to Kim. And once again, the St. Louis defense is having none of it. This time, the defensive lineman Daggs gets in on the stop. Great play by him, and that's 3rd and 10 now for the Pride. Once again, going with the 3 down lineman look is St. Louis. Christensen will be under center. He'll take a short drop. Another sidearm. Ken Gossett, tried to dive for that catch. Could not complete the play. So another 4th down upcoming for Tallahassee. Looks like he might have had number 17, Swain, out there on the go route. However, he decides to go with in the middle of the field to his reliable wide receiver, Gossett. Does not complete it, unfortunately. What a hit by Tallahassee. Great play by number 36, Irish Sharp. The backup safety able to lay the lumber on that special teams play. Could have very easily jarred that ball loose as Juan Moore goes tumbling to the turf. Offset I formation for the Gladiators. We'll see if they can replicate the success they had on the last drive as Fennell was able to sneak into the end zone for a rushing touchdown. Alexander will pass to start things off over the left-hand side. That's caught for a 6-yard gain. Good looking out route, and that was Juan Moore on the catch there. Out to the 32-yard line of St. Louis. 2nd and 4 as the clock continues to tick down. Another offset eye look for St. Louis. Alexander under center. This time a handoff to Fennell. Fennell weaving his way through traffic, dumping bodies along the way out to the 44-yard line. Great play as he's approaching the century mark in the first half. 94 yards on a rushing touchdown so far for the Gold running back Adam Fennell. Able to get skinny on that play, make it through the hole. And Alex Bond was pretty much the only one who could have made that play. to stop Fennell from getting any more yardage as we hit the 2-minute warning here in St. Louis at Budweiser Stadium. Gladiators up top by 10, looking to play spoiler to Tallahassee. Three wideouts this time for Alexander. He is in the shotgun with Fennell to his left-hand side. He'll take the snap, evades the pressure, dumps it off to Fennell, spin cycle out to the about midfield. I was going to say the 49-yard line. They marked him at midfield. Great play by the Tallahassee defense to keep him from getting any more yardage, and St. Louis is taking their time getting back up to the line of scrimmage. Having to spend one of their timeouts earlier in the ball game trying to get Tallahassee to jump off sides. So they'll have 2 timeouts to work with on this final drive here of the first half. Alexander, who has time, over to the right-hand side, just a little bit too out of bounds as Fennell made the catch but could not keep his feet in. 3rd and 2 for the Gladiators. Actually, it looks like they'll probably call that a catch, which is kind of hard to believe. It was easily out of bounds, but they gave him 1 yard on it somehow. Not worth the challenge, if you ask me, from the Pride. So it'll be 3rd and 2 here for St. Louis. Another handoff to Fennell. Fennell has the first down and more into Tallahassee territory, out to the 43-yard line. Stop made on the play by Gooden. As Dwayne Schindler said in the chat, every week is playoff week now for the Gladiators, as they have unfortunately been eliminated from this season's playoffs. However, this will do a lot for momentum leading into Season 10, as Alexander has time again, finds a man out across the 30-yard line to the 28. 1st and 10 for the Gladiators. Elijah Swaim with his first catch. Bones Malone with the stop. Alexander's going to hurry the troops to the line, take another snap. He's going to step up, over to the left-hand side, finds a man, and he's going to be out to the 18-yard line. Another first down for St. Louis. Great play by the star fullback, Garrett Rowland. Rumbling his way out to the 18-yard line. I know I wouldn't want to tackle him. Big, beefy guy for the Gladiators. And with 36 seconds left to go, clock is stopped after he gets wrestled out of bounds. Alexander will take another snap. He'll throw over to the left-hand side. That's caught for a 7-yard gain. They're going to hurry the troops back up to the line, still with 2 timeouts. Swaim with the catch. Alexander waiting for everybody to get set, burning some time. Takes the snap, has time in the pocket, looking over the middle of the field. That's picked off. Picked off by Tallahassee, and that'll end the success of this drive as Nadenson is able to pick off the play from Ethan Alexander. Good looking play as he just kind of baited Alexander into throwing that ball, hiding behind the big bodies of the line. And just as soon as he threw it, was right to him. All he had to do was catch it. Great stop by this Tallahassee defense to stop the bleeding and to hopefully just go into the half down 10-0. 14 seconds left to go for Christensen. Over to the middle of the field, that's caught for a first down. Clock ticking down, and it looks like Tallahassee is going to be content going into the half without running another play.
That's the end of the second quarter. The score is now cut by 2. Your Gladiators.
So from St. Louis, the score 10-0 in favor of the hometown Gladiators as we get a look at the halftime stats. Under 100 total yards of offense for the Tallahassee Pride. What a defensive performance by St. Louis so far as we get a look at the first half highlights. Not a whole lot of scoring plays to speak of over the course of that first half, as we welcome you back out onto the field of Budweiser Stadium. Tallahassee to kick off to open up this second half of action. And they kick off now to St. Louis as Juan Moore fielded. No, excuse me. Different wide receiver. Usually Juan Moore is the returner. Instead it's Short. Leonardo Short brings it out to the 29-yard line. And that is where St. Louis will take over once again. Their final possession of the first half cut short by a Nadenson interception. We'll see if they can capitalize on their first possession of the second half as they come out with an offset I formation. Delayed handoff to Fennell. Fennell, who has some room on the left-hand side. The referee running blocker for him. And Adam Fennell is over the century mark. 116 yards on 19 carries. Good looking play, good blocking, and then the referee just getting in the way. Actually slows Fennell down just long enough for Tallahassee to get him to the turf. So 1st and 10 now for St. Louis as Alexander zings it over to Swaim. Swaim able to get it out to the 47-yard line, 8-yard gain. Good looking pass play from star quarterback to star tight end. 2nd and 2 now for St. Louis as we get a good look at Budweiser Stadium. Good looking venue here for SFL football here on Monday night. Alexander's going to take another drop over to the right-hand side, spins away, able to get first down yardage. And I tell you, Tallahassee had him dead to rights, somehow able to eke out the first down yardage to the 44-yard line. That was a great play. I believe that was Fennell. As we get a look at Ethan Alexander's numbers, not flashy, but he's gotten the job done so far with a heavy dose of running from Fennell. Offset I formation, another pass, another swing pass over to the right-hand side. That's his fullback. Rowland able to get a 1-yard gain on the play. 2nd and 9 from the 43. It's a good read by the linebackers as they hustle over to that side of the field. Bones Malone's in there. Bones Malone, in there on the stop. 2nd and 9, another handoff for Fennell. Fennell trying to make his way through the left-hand side, able to get bottled up at the 7-yard line, where he's knocked down by Bernard Gooden. And as St. Louis continues their first possession of the second half, I would certainly expect to see more of the Gold running back in the second half, as he has produced the majority of St. Louis's rushing yards, the majority of them offensive yards, but not this time. Tallahassee knocks him down for a 1-yard loss. Bringing up 4th down, Parker in there on the stop. And a great play by the Pride defense, able to force St. Louis into a punting situation. Kissinger out there to punt once again. Pride will set up their return as they let this one bounce into the end zone. That'll be a touchback. So disappointing first possession for the Gladiators, especially after they turned it over on their last possession of the first half. We'll see if that gives the Tallahassee offense the needed momentum. As you saw the stats in the first half, less than 100 yards, I believe 66 total offensive yards in the first half. Hand off to J. Calvin Kim, who spins out to the 23-yard line, a gain of 3. It'll be 2nd and 7. Only 8 first half rushing yards for J. Calvin Kim. That is not a sentence that you hear entirely often in the SFL. This St. Louis defense has turned in an incredible performance here in the first half. J. Calvin Kim, though, finally finds some room on the left-hand side. We'll see if they can slow him down. Ron Wild finally able to drag him down at the 38-yard line. J. Calvin Kim rips one off for a first down for Tallahassee. Just body on body for the Tallahassee offense. Able to spring Calvin Kim loose. And a huge gain out to the 38-yard line for the Pride. And that's exactly what they needed. First and 10 now as Christensen is in the backfield with Kim. Throws it over to the right-hand side. That's caught by Gossett. Gossett able to avoid defenders out to the 13-yard line into the SFL red zone. 2 incredible plays by this Tallahassee offense. Gets them securely into field goal range, and hopefully we'll get 6 points on the board for the Pride. Avoids 2 defenders there, not able to get away from the third. As Ken Gossett, formerly Kenny G, gets his team securely into scoring position. We'll see what comes of it. First down for Christensen. Christensen trying to avoid pressure. He does, but not able to get away from the second man. Dragged down by number 95 on the defensive line. Mo Biggins. Great name for a defensive lineman, as he's able to snag Christensen for a sack and a loss of 2. J. Calvin Kim not able to get any extra yards either, as it brings up a 3rd and 14 for the Pride now, as the Gladiator defense certainly showing their teeth. So a 3rd and long now for Tallahassee. This is not what they envisioned when they got down in this neck of the field, as Ken Gossett finally gets a catch. Jared Cochran, the other wide receiver who actually has the most receiving yards on this squad, gets his first catch of the ball game. However, it's short of first down yardage, and we'll see if Tallahassee can put their first points on the board this evening. Richard Douglas, the kicker for Tallahassee. This will be a 23-yard field goal, no field goal, a chip shot here in the SFL. As a high snap, gets it down, kick is up and away and good, officially from 22 yards. As Tallahassee is finally able to get on the scoreboard with 5:14 left to go in the third quarter. Looking over in other SFL action, Chicago opening up a 12-point lead on Queen City, as they're up 28-16 as that first half is winding down there in Chicago. Meanwhile, in South Dakota, I believe the Sparrows are still up, as St. Louis fields the kick here, brings it out to the 31-yard line, and what a hit! A huge hit by the Tallahassee special teams. Irish Sharp, the backup strong safety, gets in there, lays the lumber, knocks him down to the turf. St. Louis will take over from the 31. Actually, looks like Alaska is up in Sioux Falls 17-10, as they are about halfway through the third quarter as well. Handoff to Fennell. Fennell squeaking away from tacklers, not able to get away from Gooden, though, as he comes up from his safety spot to knock him down for only a 2-yard gain. Good to see everybody in the chat. Nice to see you. I'm a effing problem. Dwayne Schindler, Matt Golden, Frank Good and Damon Simeon. Just a handful of the names that I'm seeing in the chat. Good to see each and every one of you. Thanks for coming along for the ride. As Fennell makes it out to the 37-yard line. A 5-yard gain for a third and manageable for the Gladiators. Make sure everybody's hitting that like button that's standing by in here watching this great contest. Only got 5 likes on there, 10 people watching right now. Let's make sure to hit the like button as Alexander throws a dangerous pass into coverage. Tallahassee able to knock it down. And that'll bring up a 4th and short. Kissinger will have to come on to punt once again.
Let's go.
4 minutes, 9 seconds left to go in this third quarter. A snap over to the left-hand side, able to get the punt away is Kissinger, and St. Louis meets the returner, right at the return point at the 26-yard line. And that's where the Pride will take over. Hand off to Jay Calvin Kim, who has more room on the right-hand side. I thought he was going to break that one too. Adam Fennell finally coming down off of the huge average that he was experiencing in the first half. And Jay Calvin Kim is finally starting to catch up with him. Averaging 4.4 yards per carry as he finally ripped off a big one there on the last possession for Tallahassee. Handoff once again for Kim. Kim able to find some room on the left-hand side. I don't think there's anyone that's going to catch him this time. 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Tallahassee. He was very sneaky towards the end, coming back inside and weaving his way in and out, seeing if the blocker was able to catch him. And that was Cochran running step for step with Calvin Kim. And the big-time running back finally able to get in the end zone for Tallahassee's first touchdown of the evening.
Barber is back for the point after. Number 8 will hold the kick.
Snap is down and away. Kick is up and good. So we have a tie ball game now, folks. 10-all here at Budweiser Stadium in St. Louis. As we're ticking down towards the end of the third quarter. 3:20 left to go.
Are kicking off. Number 89 back to receive.
And Sioux Falls looks like has tied the ball game up in South Dakota. 17-all in that contest. As St. Louis brings up the kick out to the 28-yard line. 1st and 10 after Short brings out the kick return. Tallahassee has held St. Louis stagnant on offense here for the last couple of possessions. We'll see what Ethan Alexander and company can do with this next one. A swing pass over to the fullback. Roland makes it out to the 30-yard line before he's tackled by Bones Malone. Just a 2-yard gain on that play. 2nd and 8 for St. Louis.
2nd and 8. Ball at the 30-yard line.
2:50 left to go and counting here in the third quarter. Alexander barking out orders here at the line. He'll take a 5-step drop. Halftime steps into it. Almost picked off by Tallahassee. Dylan Rowland has been all over the place today in coverage and is able to knock that ball down for an incompletion. 3rd and 8 now. If you want to do what I do and you're interested in becoming a play-by-play commentator or analyst for the SFL, the league has open tryouts all season long, even with only 2 weeks left to go. Please contact Andy Hamilton for more information on Discord. 3rd and 8 now as Alexander drops back to pass. Has a man over to the right-hand side, and it's dropped. Garrett Rowland was open, and I think he thought about running before he secured the catch. Bobbles it, and it falls harmlessly to the turf. St. Louis will have to punt once again. Just an unlucky play for the Gladiators, as they're still struggling to get something going offensively in the second half. Punt is away from Kissinger. Fielded at the 30-yard line. Brought down at the 35. Manley out there on the return. And we'll see what Christensen can do with the offense of the Pride. 2 possessions, 2 scores. Looking pretty good to start off the second half. We'll see if they can keep it going here. St. Louis stacking up the box. 3 wideouts towards the bottom. J. Calvin Kim able to spin away from one defender. Not able to get away from the second. Declan Slaughter in there on the tackle. Big gain of 7 to start off first down, though, for J. Calvin Kim as we get another look at the replay. Spins away from Davidson. And Declan Slaughter is able to get in there and wrap him up. Johnny Knock also coming in for the stop. Once again going with a 3-4 look on defense. Tallahassee throws a swing pass to J. Calvin Kim. He's able to get first down yardage out to the 49-yard line as he breaks a tackle and gets knocked out of bounds. Under 2 minutes left to go here in the third quarter. St. Louis trying desperately to hold on as they dominated this Tallahassee team in the first half. Only 66 offensive yards for the Pride against this St. Louis defense. 1st and 10. Deep pass over the middle. Has a man. Squeaks away from the tackler. Able to get down to the 11-yard line. That's Cochran with a big play. 1st and 10 from the St. Louis 11 for the Pride. Just beats his man right off the line. And there was absolutely nothing St. Louis could do after that. Great play to wrap him up by Greg Hatton-Shore. And we'll see what Tallahassee can do now in the SFL red zone at the 11-yard line. J. Calvin Kim with another handoff. Sidesteps his way out to the 8-yard line. And very quickly he put himself into the century mark. Over the century mark with 133 rushing yards. In other SFL action, Alaska has retaken the lead in South Dakota, 24-17. The Wildcats at home up 28-23 over the Champs. J. Calvin Kim not able to get much yardage that time around either, as Davidson comes up and lays the lumber. 3rd and 5 now for the Pride from the 6-yard line. Crowd is on their feet here at Budweiser Stadium. You can feel this place rocking, trying to cheer on their hometown Gladiators. Christensen will pass. Has time over the right-hand side. Bobbled and falls incomplete. Ken Gossett was the guy he was looking for. And unfortunately, he's had a case of the Butterfingers tonight for Tallahassee. So that's the second drop pass that he's had. So Tallahassee will have to settle for a field goal and take the lead on the leg of Douglas. Snap is down, kick is up and good from 23. So Tallahassee is enjoying their first lead of the ball game with just 2 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Douglas has the ball teed up. He kicks it off. It's ready to go. St. Louis will field it, brings it upfield. Great return, actually, out to the 31-yard line. Leonardo short with another kick return. And that will conclude our third quarter of play. Tallahassee finally taking their first lead of the ball game as we enter the fourth quarter of action here in St. Louis. Everyone buckle in. It's going to be a fun 11 minutes left to go as Ethan Alexander gets under center with 4 wideouts. He'll take a long drop, 7-step drop, tries to step up into the pocket, cannot as he gets wrestled down for a sack. Jason Moffitt, the defensive end, gets in and is able to do a little bit of trash talking at the end of the play as well. 6-yard loss, and that's 2nd and 16 for the Gladiators. Offset I formation for St. Louis this time. Alexander's going to pass, has time, plenty of time, and he's still going to get wrapped up by Moffitt. That's 2 sacks in 2 plays. The bronze defensive end stepping up and making his presence felt on the defensive front there as he's able to get past his blocker once again and bring Alexander to the turf. So 3rd and forever now for St. Louis as Alexander sets up with an empty backfield in the gun, 4 wide receivers. He'll take a short drop, has a man over the middle, and that's overthrown, incomplete, looking for Elijah Swain. So Tallahassee's defense now showing their grit, stepping up and seeing if they can preserve this small 3-point lead that they've encountered. Meanwhile, Chicago has scored again to increase their lead to 12, 35-23 over Queen City. As Tallahassee is able to bring it up to their own 46-yard line, Manley will give his offense good starting field position to start this next possession.
First and 10. From 47 yards.
9 minutes, 50 seconds left to go. J. Calvin Kim in the backfield. Handoff to him. Sidesteps the defender out to the 49-yard line for a 5-yard gain. So we get a look at his numbers on the evening. He started off incredibly slow. 131 of those yards were in the second half.
Second and 5. From 48 yards.
So 2nd and 5 now from the 49. Handoff again to Kim. Spins away once again. Only gets 2. But man, is he doing his best to make sure that he gets every single yard out of each run. So for Chicago, over on the other SFL networks, Chicago wins and they are in. And it looks like that is the case right now as they're in the third quarter. J. Calvin Kim able to get a first down. on a 3rd and 3 call. Gets just enough to get past the markers for a first down. They're into St. Louis territory at the 43. Hand off to Kim once again. Has some room over to the right-hand side. 3-yard gain. Tackle made on the play by Hatton Shore. Tallahassee finally finding a rhythm. Realizing that J. Calvin Kim is probably their best option. This time they'll throw in some passing as Christensen lines up in the gun. It'll be a short pass. Wide receiver jumps to come back to the ball. That's Ken Gossett, who's been wildly inconsistent tonight. As you get a look there, he's already dropped 2 balls. That'll be a 3rd and 7 for Tallahassee. As we hit the 7.5-minute mark left to go in the ball game. Christensen on 3rd down, has a man but cannot get the first down yardage. Wesley Weeks gets hit, I think that was his 2nd catch of the ball game. However, it's a 4th and 1, and I believe that they are going to go for a lengthy field goal. This would be an incredibly long field goal, a 51-yarder for Richard Douglas. And oh no, it's a fake! St. Louis able to sniff it out though. And oh my, what do you think St. Louis was thinking there? The holder is backup quarterback Curtis Young. And he looked like he was going to throw a pass, but there was no one going out for it.
Let's go.
So St. Louis benefits from the field goal gaffe as Alexander sets up with 4 wide receivers. He's going to change the play though, barking out orders. Takes the snap, has a good pocket, throws it over the middle. Wide receiver has to come back, only is able to get 3 yards after they give him forward progress. R.W. Jones, the backup tight end, was the recipient of that catch. 2nd and 7 for St. Louis. Offset I formation, hand off to Fennell. Fennell hurdles a defender, stomped down from the side at the 47-yard line. Ryan Nadenson out there on the stop, who has a pick in this ball game as well. So a 3rd and 3 for St. Louis. We'll see what they can do here as the clock ticks inside of 6 minutes in the ball game. 2 wide receivers, 2 backs in the backfield. Alexander is under center. He will pass, has time in the pocket, steps up, completes the pass out to the 32-yard line, and I believe they'll hit him with a late hit on top of that. They will indeed. Tito Mass with the great catch. And unfortunately, Alex Bond just a little bit late to the party. And they'll tack on some more yardage for the Gladiators. As we get a look here, just a little too late. As he falls on top of him. And that's a free 15 for St. Louis. At the end of it all is in the SFL red zone at the 17-yard line. Alexander changing things up, barking orders at the line of scrimmage. Offset I, delayed handoff. Fennell will make it out to the 16-yard line, but no more than that, as he's wrapped up on the play by Dylan Rowland. Good numbers there from Fennell, although the majority of it coming in the first half of action. And speaking of action, Queen City has narrowed the gap. Only a 5-point ball game in Chicago now. Toss over to the middle of the field. Caught once again. But there is another flag. We'll see what this one is. And it's going to be pass interference this time on the defense. Will Parker, the guilty party on the penalty. So that'll set up a 1st and goal for St. Louis. The Gladiators benefiting from two big penalties from this Pride defense. And now it's going to be 1st and goal. We'll see if they can take the lead here. 4:38 left to go. Alexander in the gun. He has 3 wide receivers. He will swing it out quickly to Fennell. Fennell trying to get away, only gets about a yard. They'll generously give him 2. Bones Malone knocks him down at the 8-yard line, 2nd and goal. I would just take my time here if I was St. Louis. No need to rush anything. Another swing pass, this time knocked down, sniffed out. Bones Malone once again tracking down Fennell, and he loses 2 yards in that play, so it's 3rd and goal, back from where they started at the 10. We'll see what Alexander can do here in the gun. He has Fennell in the backfield. He's going to throw it deep this time, and it's picked off. 2 picks in the red zone by Ethan Alexander. And this time, it was picked off by Eric Long, one of the corners. He was actually covering one more. That's a heck of a play by a generic corner. He was actually covering one more on the play, saw the ball get airmailed into the back of the end zone, and he comes off his receiver to make the play and the interception. Disappointment for St. Louis as they throw their 2nd red zone pick, and Tallahassee should try and just run some clock here as J. Calvin Kim gets a handoff. And he has put in a ton of work in the second half as he's overtaken Adam Fennell for rushing yards after only having 8 rushing yards in the first half. 2nd and 7, clock ticking away. 4 wideouts for Christensen. He's under center, gets a free play. J. Calvin Kim will get knocked in the backfield. However, St. Louis jumped off sides, and that will give Tallahassee a free 5 yards.
Neutral zone infraction, number 92, defense, 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
So it'll be 2nd and 2. As Chad Longstreet was the guilty party on the penalty. Playoffs just around the corner as we have one more week of regular season action, and then we hit the playoffs. So everyone stay tuned. Every game matters from this point on, as J. Calvin Kim not able to get the first down. This time brought down by Malcolm Tucker. Alaska up by 7 in Sioux Falls, 24-17, with just under 4 minutes left to go in the ball game. Meanwhile, Chicago has opened up a 12-point lead now on Queen City as they tick away that 3rd quarter of play. J. Calvin Kim gets bottled up in the backfield, and that's exactly what St. Louis needed. Declan Slaughter knocks him down in the backfield. for a 4th and 2. And Tallahassee will probably take this down to the 2-minute warning, even though they're lining up to punt here. And they do. 2 minutes left to go. Great ball game here in St. Louis, as the Gladiators trying to spoil Tallahassee's rise up the playoff ladder. We haven't seen a whole lot of McCoy as St. Louis comes after the punt, almost gets there, as they're not able to get a huge return. Juan Moore isn't, as he gets out to the 35-yard line. Still decent starting field position for the Gladiators as they trot out for the 2-minute offense. First and 10 from the 35. Minute 52 left on the clock for the Gladiators. All 3 timeouts for both teams. Alexander will pass. He has time. Deep pass over the middle of the field. That's almost picked off again. Bernard Gooden out there on the coverage. Good coverage on Elijah Swaim, as Alexander was looking for the team's leading receiver. He hasn't thrown the deep ball much this afternoon, well, this evening. But when he has, Tallahassee has snuffed it out really easily. 4 wideouts, empty backfield, under center. Alexander has time, plenty of time. Eventually throws it over the right. Diving attempt, incomplete. 3rd and 10 now from the 35. Moore was out there trying to make the diving attempt, but it was all for naught as it falls to the turf, just slightly overthrown by Alexander. This time Alexander will be in the gun, 4 wideouts, 3rd down and long. He'll take the snap, over to the right-hand side, plenty of coverage over there, and it gets knocked down. Nadenson could have had another pick to his credit. And St. Louis will have to play field position here and punt the ball away with 1:39 left to go. Kissinger kicks the ball away. Fielded at about the 28. He'll get 1 yard out to the 29-yard line. Manley not able to rip off a huge return. But with 1:31 left to go, we'll see if St. Louis can hold off Tallahassee here on this last drive. I anticipate they'd run some clock, and St. Louis will have to burn their timeouts. Handoff to Calvin Kim, who gets thumped right at the line of scrimmage, and St. Louis will quickly burn a timeout. Davidson came up and made the stop. Great play by the Gladiator defense. 2nd down and 10. End of the 3rd quarter, 42-30 in favor of Chicago over in the Midwest. 2nd down and 10, another handoff to Calvin Kim. This time he's got plenty of room, and he actually gets 1st down yardage. That is not what you wanted to see if you were St. Louis. Disappointing for them as J. Calvin Kim is able to follow his blockers, sidesteps out of another one. That was Davidson, I believe. As he gets out to the 40-yard line, fresh set of downs. St. Louis is down to only 1 timeout. And this will pretty much do it here from Budweiser Stadium, as Tallahassee lines up in victory formation. St. Louis got to burn their last timeout. And that will be just about all she wrote. Once again, thank you everybody for coming out tonight, watching a great SFL game here from St. Louis. As it looks like Tallahassee will narrowly escape with a 3-point victory. Be sure to check out our other SFL games going on right now. Chicago and Queen City getting started in the fourth quarter. Meanwhile, Alaska and Sioux Falls are wrapping up their ball game. Looks like Sioux Falls is doing their best to tie it up, so we might have some overtime action over on the other SFL networks. And in fact, they just scored a touchdown. 24-23 now with Alaska as Tallahassee takes their final knee. And it looks like they might have to punt the ball away to put this one to a close. Play clock and game clock separated by just one. So they'll have to punt the ball away. Barring a miracle here by one more, this game is over. One more brings it out to the 34-yard line, and that will do it. Here from St. Louis, a well-fought ball game from both sides. However, Tallahassee comes away with the victory and continues their playoff push as they are in second place now in the playoff standings. We'll get a look at the final post-game stats and highlights here. And again, I want to thank everybody for coming out. For all the production crew here in St. Louis, Missouri, my name is Eric Vinson. From St. Louis, Missouri, everybody, good night, and be sure to tune in to our other SFL action during the course of the evening.